This is Curious Brainfarts.
Well, hello, Louise.
Hello, Paul. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm getting better, thank you. I've been
Good.
really ill, really ill. Just
Yes.
fluey ill, not anything sinister, but it's knocked me off my feet for a few weeks,
Mm.
in all honesty. So yeah, so I'm getting better from that. So that's nice.
Yeah, that is good. And I automatically said I'm good, thanks. And I've had a bug, not the same or anywhere near as bad as yours. I'm still trying to get over at the moment. So,
Interesting.
dear listener land, we are trying a new format. We are going for a remote session at the moment, just because it's not possible for us to be together right now, because we normally like being in the same studio together. So for now, you can listen to us in separate places, which is amazing.
Amazing.
Right.
Our discernment was it's better to do this than have nothing.
Yeah. And we're late
So
getting something out this week simply because we've been unwell. So,
yeah. Yeah.
oh my gosh, real life happens. Amazing. So apart from being, well, actually, there's probably no news to share since you've been unwell, because you've been unwell for so long.
Yeah. It's been quite boring.
Okay,
I'm not going to
great.
lie to you.
Right, and TV
Yeah.
programs, amazing.
Oh my God, yes. So yes, let's hear it for All Creatures Great and Small, the Channel 5 one.
Right.
I don't for those internazionale, because we are in many different countries now. You can get the first season or two on Netflix. It's
Can you?
absolutely charming. Absolutely charming.
Very, very nice.
No, I mean this is based on real life. I've read the books when I was a kid. I watched the OG TV series here in the UK when I was a kid. I was talking to our sister Rachel about it the other day, and we both spontaneously burst into song, singing the theme tune, but the OG one.
Yes.
And so that's just, just easy. I haven't been able to, I don't want drama. I don't want death and destruction. I don't want tension. I just want something that's really very charming and easy.
And is that what you got?
Yeah, that's All Creatures Great and Small for you. It's delightful.
Amazing.
And I watched a Doris Day film with my friend. Doza, as we call her.
Nice.
So, yeah, by the light of the silvery moon, and All Creatures are Great and Small, ticking the boxes.
That's not James Herriot, is it?
Yeah.
No, it is James Herriot. And I thought, I was just doubting myself then and going, oh no, I can't remember if it is. Yeah, James Herriot. I mean, amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's nostalgic and very nice and
feel good, and
yeah,
with a little bit of real lifeiness.
yeah.
It's set in rural northern England.
Yeah, it's the Yorkshire Dales
Aye.
in the 30s and 40s.
So it's a very different pace of life, which is good.
100%.
I must admit, I binged when I was poorly. I was on the sofa basically for 3 days, and I binged this program I've been watching called Dexter. I started watching it ages ago and didn't get into it. And for me, this was, I mean, unfortunately, that is quite a lot about death, because it's about a forensic analyst who is a serial killer with a code.
Right,
so
okay.
he kills people who he deems are worthy of dying, who are bad people. Okay, that's great. Okay, and all the
slightly
carnage.
Different frequency.
Slightly different frequency. And I found that with that, I didn't really need to pay attention. It was just like, and I've nearly finished it now. So, yeah. So very different vibe. There's not like warm, cuddly cows and, lambing season and stuff like that. No. More about
No,
chopping
we're
people
not
up and
about that.
disposing of them.
Right, okay.
Okay, nice.
All
okay.
right. Each to their own, Paul. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
No judgment here.
No, very good. Now, we should probably, because we're a little bit confuzzled, so we do have a little bit of brain fog going on. It's not been COVID, as far as we're aware.
No.
And we are a bit slower than normal. And so we're going to, fire up the random theme generator, I think.
Yeah, good idea.
Might stop us waffling temporarily. Right. I'm going to go and see if St. John, my butler, can just fire it up for me.
Okay, amazing.
Random theme generator. Random theme generator.
Well, that was a roaring success.
Good.
And it's printed out an email. I do like the fact that it's like a multifunction device, the random theme generator.
It's synced up with our inbox.
All sorts, I mean, you get because you see, listeners, just to imagine when a random theme is thrust upon us by the random theme generator, it's sort of like a ticker tape kind of vibe, like dot matrixy, loud, clunky, and then a little bit of paper pops out. When we get in email, there is a laser printer in there. And yeah, so I've now got this beautifully crisp laser printed email. And it goes like this. Hi Lou and Paul. I love your podcast. The end. Oh, that's so great. Thanks very much. All right.
TVM.
Yes. And I must say that I have also been farting recently. Ooh. I would like to suggest the theme of time. Time. Not the herb.
Not parsley, sage, rosemary, and...
No. So I find...
passage of.
It continues. I find time very curious for many reasons, such as how it controls our lives, how it can move fast at moments and slow at others, how we can never catch up to time, is constantly moving and affecting the world around us by every second. Blimey, this person's been thinking very deeply. Every person has a limited amount of time in life, but we never know how long it will be or when important moments will happen. It's like watching a movie sometimes. It feels boring and you want to skip to the good parts, in inverted commas. I love that. But in life, we don't know when the good or bad moments will come or how long they'll last. What really stands out to me is that when we pass away, our entire life is represented by a single dash between the year we were born and the year we died. Very interesting. That's why time is so precious. It's all we truly have. Best wishes, the Panty Sneaker.
Oh.
Blimey Charlie. There seems to be some interesting. So
we're going into a very big topic here, aren't we?
Yes.
So we'll just fart around this topic for a bit.
Shall we?
I've looked it up off of Cambridge.
Right, and it means?
And it means the part of existence that is measured in minutes, days, years, etc., or this process considered as a whole, i.e. the passage of time, time as a concept. So it's both a unit of measurement and a concept. You can pass the time you can spend time. Interesting. You can take time. You can save time. You can keep time. There's all sorts of. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to make time for this. So we use it in a more elastic way in our language.
Yeah.
But it is then, if you go to Wikipedia, this is then an interesting slant on it. Time is the continuous progression of our changing existence that occurs in an apparently irreversible succession from the past through the present into the future. It is a component quantity of various measurements used to sequence events and to quantify rates of change in material reality or our conscious experience. It's often referred to as a fourth dimension, along with our three spatial dimensions.
Best we steer clear of some of that, for fear that we fall into some intellectual pitfalls quite quickly.
So it's a philosophical concept. It's a concept in mythology. It's a concept in religion, in science, in all sorts of. So it's a huge thing.
It is huge.
I literally don't think we got the time to do it justice.
So that concludes this episode.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry for the coughing, guys. Oh my gosh. I like the way that this person has phrased it, and I don't think their first name is Panty and their last name is Sneaker. I think that might be a pseudonym.
Right. Okay. I was going to say interesting choice by the parents.
Yes. Yes. And so I'm going with pseudonym. So maybe we call them Sue. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, Sue. What I like about what they've written, though, is their perspective on how it controls our lives, how it feels sometimes fast and sometimes slow, and how we can never catch up. It's constantly moving, affecting the world around us every second. And then they go into the more broader concept in terms of we've only got limited time, and that how it struck them that even at a funeral, the lifespan is signified by a dash. Born, died. Which is interesting. So, how do you think time controls your life, Lou?
I don't think it does control my life in any way. I think it's an organising force. I have to be at a certain place at a certain time. I've got a certain appointment, or I have a client or whatever. So in that sense, I have a diary, and that does give structure to my days. If I'm late to pick up my son from school, I feel stressed about that because I don't want him to be stood waiting for ages, wondering where I am. So it does have some, things like that about it. For me personally, so there's that day-to-day thing. The more existential things around passage of time speeding up as you get older. I think all of that I feel that to a degree. I just don't think it bothers me. It doesn't. I'm 51 and
full of fun.
Well, I it's funny, I was saying to my therapist just yesterday that I'm starting to fully be who I am. I think probably for the first time in my life. Now you could look at that. So time is also a perspective, because I could look at that and go, "Oh my God, what a waste!" of all of the intervening years. Or I could look at that and go, oh my goodness, how amazing. I'm halfway through, well, probably I'm over halfway through my life, almost certainly. But for the remaining time I've got left, I become more and more myself. And so how wonderful, because there are plenty of people who never get there. So I don't feel that anything's been wasted. I don't, do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't have these existential time-based worries. That's just not how it is for me.
And then, just tuning into the fact of, I think about having a really busy day. Like today, I've got lots of things on. It'll be the most I've done since I've been unwell, and that feels like a lot. So I can feel... Oh, great, we can still hear the dogs, which is amazing. Well, my dog anyway. So yeah.
Now mine have started, sorry if you can hear that.
Guys, you're so welcome. Bear with me. Roscoe, come on. Roscoe. Thank you. So you see, someone did a delivery, which is great. And they do the hit and run, they press the button and run. So he's just stood there like shouting his jubblies off because he thinks someone's there. Brilliant.
Yeah, great.
And the teenagers in the house aren't up, which is good.
Obviously not. It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, precisely. So the idea that sometimes I can feel quite harried or stressed by the amount of stuff I've got to squeeze in. There is a certain amount of time in a day, and when you feel like things are back to back, for example, or we've only got a limited period of time for us to be doing this, and then there's the next thing, and so on. So I think there's like that kind of that day-to-dayness that you were talking about, and I'm not sure whether it's so much control as the measure. So the question was, how does it control our lives? I think in a way it's a measurement, so which can therefore apply some constraints. So I don't think it's not so much time controlling me, it's me applying some structure. Oh, this is good, isn't it? Me applying some structure or some boundaries around the use of that time, because it will pass nonetheless. So,
yes.
There's all these things around time management. Well, you can't manage time. You can manage what you do with your time, your tasks, your activities. You can manage that, your priorities, and so on. You cannot manage time. So don't try.
Yes.
Look at those other things.
And it's a construct that we have created. It's not something that existed outside of the evolution of our understanding. It's you've got sand, egg timers where the sand dribbles through, and primitive notions of, but of course the sun was used and the moon was used before there were clocks, etc., etc. So that in the natural world is just a rhythm, a flow. We've put units of measurement around that flow and called it time. It's not real. We've invented it, so in that sense it's not even real. What time is it? Who cares? In a way.
Yes. Yeah. And yet there is something which obviously we would go into, we're just out of time, around the time-space continuum.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then, she said, not looking at the internet in any way at all.
No. As
we know, this space-time can be distorted. It's not a fixed constant once you leave. So, like at the edge of like a black hole or something. I'm given to understand.
You've not been there before?
No, I don't tend to holiday in such locations.
Right. No, mainly we go to Tamofland.
Exactly that. But like, okay, so it's not necessarily the thing. Excuse me, it's not the same everywhere. In that way. And anyone who's ever sat in a boring ass lecture, classroom, presentation, Zoom meeting will just feel the passage of time slow.
Yes.
As they go, I cannot bear this. This is so dull. So, and then time flies when you're having fun,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So
Yeah.
we bring our perception to a concept that we as humans have created,
And it's
to
reflective
organise
of
and
what we're
manage.
focused on as well. So, if we're focusing on the fact that something is dull and boring, you're waiting for it to be over. When is this over? And as a
Nigel
result,
Leathert.
you're looking at your clock every 5 seconds going, what about now? What about now? Like recently, I had to take my youngest into hospital. And whilst we were waiting for all the stuff, actually, although we were there, I don't know, 5 hours or something, it didn't seem that bad at all. I was quite relaxed throughout the time we were there. Luckily, he was also quite relaxed and calm. I'd taken my laptop to distract him with, so he could watch a movie or whatever whilst we were waiting. And so that was okay. Yes, it was a, inverted commas, long period of time because you're not necessarily comfortable and blah, blah, blah. However, it didn't feel like it dragged on. So, and the other thing I was thinking about with space-time is the closer you get to the speed of light, the slower time goes. So if you travelled at the speed of light to Mars and back again, you would be gone for, I don't know what the numbers are exactly, it's the equivalent of, if it took you at the speed of light, if it took you, I don't know, literally I have no idea, let's say 5 hours to get there, just for argument's sake, it would be the equivalent of 50 years by the time you got back.
Right.
Because the closer you go to the speed of light, the slower time goes. Anyway, moving well away from that. Yeah, it's interesting because, like we said already, so much of this is around perspective. If you feel like you haven't got enough time, then you're not going to have enough time. If you feel like time's running out, then you'll be scrabbling around. If you feel
I sometimes think that about people who have got a diagnosis of an illness, which is going to. So, the person who sent the email said that we have a finite amount of time. We just don't know. But then the agony of knowing is that you do have 3 to 6 months left, or whatever it is. And then so then that changes fundamentally your perception of time. And what are you going to do with your remaining time if you don't know? I mean, we are all going to die. We just don't know when. So yeah, it's, as you say, a lot of this is perspective, and the way that we deal with that or cope with that or don't cope with it.
Yes, and I think the idea of all these bucket lists and all of that jazz, there is a place for those things, and I guess when there is a pinch put on you, like for example, there is a special offer on a holiday or something, and if you do it in the next 2 weeks, then you'll get a big discount. Okay, well, I'm now going to make that more of a priority to sort out. And then obviously a heavier example being, the known shortening of your life. Obviously, we have no idea how long we'll live. And someone saying you've got 3 to 6 months. Well, then all of a sudden you reassess your priorities. How am I going to invest in the time that I have that's remaining? And something I've thought about quite a lot is how I invest in that time. Some people talk about energy. There's a guy called, his name, Simon Alexander Ong, who's written a book called Energized. So he's rightly pointing out the fact that you can't focus on managing time. It's where you invest your energy. And I've thought about this for quite a long time, for many years, and where I'm most willing to invest my money and my energy and so on is in experiences, and experiences that are meaningful, not just flash in the pan things. So it's not so much in stuff. If stuff can be involved in creating a shared experience, brilliant. And that's another important point, a shared experience. This isn't just about stuff I want to enjoy on my own. It's about, spending my time with people and that generating things that will last longer than my lifetime, such as love and connection and belonging and all these lovely things.
Very nice. Yeah, very nice. I was thinking of something and I can't remember what it is now. It's gone. It's floated away.
Floated away. Dear listeners,
Sorry.
Lou is looking rather fatigued. She was just been resting her head in her hands because she's looking a little weary.
I was listening to what you were saying, Paul, and I was thinking something, but like I say, it's gone. But I think, I don't, that, this is there's a poem coming into my brain, and it's a very old poem by a guy called, I can't remember his name even. It's called To His Coy Mistress, and it goes like this. If there was world enough and time, this coyness lady were no crime. So she's being coy and not going, she's being and he's going, if we had world enough and time, but we don't have that. Time's winged chariot is coming for us, so there's that you often find that in literature, like that carpe diem type of vibe. Do it now. If you don't do it now, that's what I was thinking of. Where do you choose to live? Do you choose to live in the past? Do you choose to live in the future? Or do you choose to live now? There's a guy, Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
And he's written lots of books about it, but his most famous one is probably The Power of Now. Because that's all we have. You can't influence the past, that's done. The future is unknown. But I think a lot of us spend a lot of time either looking over our shoulder into the past or trying to see around the corner into the future, and the futility of that and the energy and capacity it consumes.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The past is past, SED, and the future isn't here. And so the only thing that you've got in any moment is now. And how to, it's very natural. For example, the things that we have now might be from the past, might be feelings or hurt or love or whatever, because love is more than just a feeling, for example, and hurt is more than just a feeling, for example. And then I guess the only thing attributable to the future maybe are feelings, if I think about it, because looking at the future, you can look with excitement, with anxiety, with fear, with hope. And those are all just feelings because you've got nothing further to go on. And maybe that's, something for me to reflect more on. Yes, feeling hopeful for the future, that's a good thing to sort of give me an energy boost or some motivation or focus to drive the now, to be in the now, as opposed to trying to be over-invested in the future.
Yeah, because the past gives us evidence, and we use that evidence to try and predict what the future is going to be. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I think I'm just saying, for me, there's a mindful focus on how much of my energy is spent doing that. I definitely agree with you that feelings have longevity, especially difficult feelings, because they are cautionary tales. If we've been, I don't know, badly hurt in whatever way, experienced trauma in whatever way, then that actually lives in the body.
That's right.
So, it's not true to... It's not even true to say that the past is the past and that's that. You can't influence it and you can't change it. But it does also, potentially, depending on what's happened, live in the present as well. So our job in the present is to say, what do I need to clear out from the things that have happened to me in the past? What am I bringing? In other words, what am I bringing with me? And by the way, intergenerational stuff is also real, in my opinion. So looking at it from the passage of time, stuff that's not yours flows intergenerationally and comes to your door. And
not
we live
deliberately.
No, God, no. Not consciously.
No, that's right.
Not consciously.
And
very often.
I was just going to say, and until we draw attention to that, it will very often remain unseen or whatever. Hence, it's able to be passed on generation to generation. Yeah,
absolutely right. Absolutely right. You think, going back to All Creatures Great and Small in Yorkshire.
Oh, I like this.
Sorry for the rubbish. Yeah, man. Circle of Life. But they obviously, because of when it's set, the Second World War begins. The people alive have lived through, lots of them have experience of being in the First World War, and we see some of that. And then you take, you take our parents who are children born during the Second World War, whose parents were involved, and you think, wow, okay, hello, just open the taps and all down it all flows. Yeah. Particularly to these generations. And of course, war, conflict, trauma in whatever way is present always. So I'm picking on those things because they were big global events, but we're not saying that isn't still happening, because of course it is. Yes. And I just think, that's the work for me, our individual work, to know ourselves and to be able to put down the things that are not ours and do not serve us.
The other thing that really struck me is, in the olden days, taking that example, 1930s, things had to move much slower. Transport was much slower. Communication was much slower. If I wanted to arrange to meet you, if I had a telephone, I could call you as long as you were at home. Everything just has to be a lot slower, taking more time. And there was very much the rhythm around the night and day. And now, fast forward to where we are today, I feel like that is blurring more and more. So, from home, we work with people all around the world, with organisations all around the world. It could be their nighttime and our daytime. That doesn't matter, in inverted commas, because we're able to work together. We can always be on. So when is off? When the light went during the day, you had to stop doing the things that required lots of light because you wouldn't have any.
No, that's right.
And now you could only do the things that didn't need much light. People used to go to bed much earlier because there was nothing else to do. And now, there's so much that we can do all the time because of how technology has evolved and changed things. So even the speed, which has obviously close ties with our perception of time, the speed at which things move now is exponentially faster than it was in the 1930s.
Yes.
We're not even 100 years on,
No.
which I find
No,
pretty
that's right.
mental. And we're probably running 2, 3, 4 times the speed every day.
Well, at least. We all carry a computer around in our pocket.
So,
it's funny because, of course, our children are digital natives. And to your point, we had a phone in the hallway in our house. It was a dial phone. We didn't get a push button phone with tones on it for many years. And you would have to be there stood in the hallway having your conversation. And if you arranged to meet somebody, there was no such thing as a group call. You had to ring round and arrange it. And if you arranged to be in a certain place at a certain time, well, you had to just be there.
Yeah.
So there was no way of saying, oh, I'm running late.
No.
And there was no way of saying, oh, it's raining, let's go somewhere else.
Correct.
Just had to blinking well turn up.
Yeah. Lots to be said for that.
Yes, I think so. But we're used to lots of things being more pliable and more, and that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just really different. It just in our lifetime.
Yes.
So in another 50 years, goodness knows where we'll be.
Yes.
And not in a bad way.
How we will be experiencing time, how we will be engaging with others, doing things, fascinating subject. Well,
very.
This has been amazing.
Thank you, Panty Liner, or whoever you are.
The Panty Sneaker.
Oh, that's it.
Other products are available. And if you want to get involved, drop us an email to curiousbrainfarts@gmail.com.
It's amazing.
Ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Curious Brain Thoughts.